Hello. I don't know if this hair choice is a good one, but I'm just gonna get comfy. I'm not wearing socks, but I don't think it's on the frame. So, growing up, I always heard your 20s are the best. You should always enjoy it. I literally made a podcast with a friend called 20s in Transition because your 20s are incredibly messy. But the messiness also teaches us a lot of things about life, and I just want to make this video for someone who's stepping into the 20s, or you can even be in your 30s. Sometimes it's not about age. Sometimes we learn lessons regardless of how old we are. So I hope this one helps you. Hi, welcome back to yet another video making about things I've learned in my 20s, but this one is growth things I've had to accept in my 20s. As much as we spend a lot of time on Instagram, our lives are not that Instagram worthy. I want to talk about hard truths I've had to learn in my 20s, and I have them written down on my iPad, so let's dive in. The first lesson I learned in my 20s, I've only been in my 20s for 5 years, I'm only 25, which kind of makes me feel like I'm very young. But the first thing I learned was growth is not linear. And why I'm saying this is when I was an undergrad, final year of engineering college, I told myself the next step is going to be either doing an MBA or getting a job, getting married, having kids, putting them through school, and following life's journey. But little did I know that was not going to be the case at all. Here's what happened instead. I graduated from undergrad, but not on time because of COVID. I'd applied for B schools in India, and I did get into them, but I couldn't sit in classes because I hadn't officially graduated with my degree. So I had to drop out of that. And then I applied for postgrad degree, and I got into that, and I started pursuing my postgrad degree. And then I decided I want to do a master's degree. And then I moved to the United States to do my master's degree. And I was doing my master's degree, and then I got a job, and then I moved from Boston and went to Cleveland to do my job. And then I moved from Cleveland to Boston, and I'm working part-time now. If you really think about it, these are not the milestones that we set for ourselves, but life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. And it's very, very, very normal in your 20s to feel like, I thought my life was supposed to be this, but it's looking like this. What am I doing wrong? Spoiler, you're not doing anything wrong. That is how our 20s are supposed to be. The lesson here is growth often comes with detours and taking different journeys to kind of get to that point and challenge yourself, because life, if it goes exactly as the way you're planning it, where's the fun in that? Lesson number 2 is you cannot rush the process. Trust me, as someone that loves to control every single second of her day, every single person around her. Just kidding. I don't control people. But I do love controlling situations, and I do like knowing what outcomes I'm going to get out of a situation. But I've learned that that is not possible at all. The more you try to control something, the less control you actually have. I'm in the stage of my life where I want to do multiple things, and I feel like I need to have control over how each of these things are actually being perceived by people, but that is not possible at all. I cannot tell you how to perceive what I'm saying. You might be sitting here listening to me talk, and then you might think, wow, this girl is actually pretty, or she's not so smart, she's smart, she has this together, she might not have that together, she's able to do this, she has this perspective, she's learned so much, she's not learning so much. All of these things are not something that I can control, and the same thing goes for every single thing in life. I am someone that loves to control situations, and I've learned that the more you take a step back and kind of tell yourself that I've done what I need to do, I need to take a step back, and I need to watch how things unfold. That is where the beauty is, and I think that is what law of detachment teaches you as well. They tell you that give your best and then take 10 steps back, because then you'll actually see what was meant for you and what was not meant for you, and what is supposed to be working for you, what is not supposed to be working for you. Lesson number 3 is being alone is a superpower. There's some stigma around being alone in your 20s. It's like you have to be surrounded by people, you have to be surrounded by cool people, friends, boyfriends and girlfriends, you need to be surrounded by family. Having people in your life is awesome. I'm not someone that says you should never talk to people, you should always spend your time alone. Not one for that, cannot ever do that. But I do think having that power to be alone for a day, for 2 days, for a week, just taking and doing things for yourself, by yourself, is a superpower. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I've been living alone for the past 2.5 years, and I've learned a lot of things about myself. When you're with someone, when you have a roommate, it's easier to blame them. But when you know that your bed is not made, it's because you did not make it. When you know your dishes are not done, it's because you did not do it. Even if you're going to have a partner in the future, that is exactly the person you're going to be. You're not going to change because someone else is there. You'll probably act for a day or two, but day 3, they're probably going to know what kind of person you are. So if you're someone that's always having your space untidy, that is just who you are. And it does not matter if you get a partner or not, unless they can influence you to change into a better person. But I think be a better person by yourself, so when the right person comes along, you'll be better with them. Another thing I've learned by living alone in my 20s is you actually become very creative because you have a lot of time to yourself, and you have to become very creative as to how you're going to utilize it. Because trust me, I know you want to scroll on your phone, you want to watch the best movies, you want to make cookies, you want to make the best recipe in the world, the things you love, lots of pros, but there's a cap to that. There's only so much you can do. There's only so many times you can do that before you get bored, and then you start becoming creative. You think about the things you used to love when you were a kid. You think about the things that you want to actually do, but you don't do because you think you need someone to do that. More often than not, I've not done a lot of things in my life because I've always thought, I need my friend to do this. I need someone to go out. I need someone to do this with me. Although it's being very normalized now and becoming very popular for you to do things alone, we still don't do it enough. And there's a superpower in doing things alone because it makes you a better person. The reason this makes you a better person is because you become less prone to disappointment. Even if someone says, hey, I know we had this plan and I cannot show up, you don't immediately get disappointed. You would just say, great, I can do things by myself. If you're very dependent on someone else, I've been there and I'll tell you it's very disappointing. Lesson number 4 is failure is data. I mean, come on. I am an analyst. I am a data person. I will talk about data. Failure is data because when I was young, I used to fail a lot and I was very proud of it for some reason. I just really did not give a shit about what anybody thought about me. I also thought to myself that I can do this. I just don't want to do this. But there are times when I really put my 200% into something and it fails, and that failure is very hard to handle. Being a business analyst and looking at data, I've kind of understood that just like how businesses look at past sales data, that is how I look at my failures. These are my failures. What are the things I can actually learn from this experience? And I don't mean to say, oh, I was so dumb, I should have done this better, I should have been this person, I should have talked to that person. No, I only take things from the perspective of, I didn't do X, Y, and Z, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z here. That's it. No shaming myself, no telling myself I should have been smarter, nothing like that. No negative self-talk. For example, in 2019, I actually launched a blog called Sensible Scoop, and I was writing marketing and personal growth articles there, and I never really shared that with anybody. And I used to kind of tell myself that you don't even know how to market a blog. How can you be a marketer? Mind you, that this was very early stages of me learning what marketing was, and I was pretty rude to myself. And then I realized, as I grew up, I realized that I never actually told anybody that blog existed. I kind of wanted people to show up at my doorstep and know that I had a blog. That is not how things work. Ever since then, I've learned that you've got to tell people, regardless of whether this project fails or it succeeds, or if it becomes viral, if it doesn't, if people don't even watch it, you're still going to tell people. Because then I can remove that thought from my head, so that now I can learn from the mistakes I'm making now, rather than thinking about what mistakes did I do then, am I repeating it? Because I know that I will never make those mistakes again. Lesson number 5 is perfection is a myth. I've spent way too many times, even right now, while I started filming this, I kept doing this to my hair because I thought, oh my god, it's a little frizzy here. My fringe is coming out here. Maybe I shouldn't have worn my hairband. Maybe I shouldn't have worn this clothes. Maybe I shouldn't be filming here. All these 1 million thoughts come into my head. But the thing here is you're not here to see my hair or my aesthetic, nothing. It's just for your eyes. What you really want is what I'm trying to say. So perfection is a myth. Stop myself from doing way too many things because I've told myself I'm not perfect. I literally told myself that my nails are not really growing as fast as I want them to, and I don't want to get acrylics because they hurt my nails, and I want my nails to be healthy. Then I told myself maybe I should hide my nails while I'm filming this because then people might see it. And I have to be very, very conscious. But the thing here is, nobody gives a shit. And even if they do, they're gonna think about it for like 5 seconds and then they're gonna forget it. Because that is what life is. People don't have time to sit and think about your things and worry about you because they have an entire life to live. If you're thinking I need to have like the perfect aesthetic, perfect home, perfect this, perfect that, that does not exist. Perfect does not exist. I recently saw something on Instagram where people were like, you're striving to get an award that does not exist. The award of being perfect. The award of being that person that doesn't say no too often. The award of being someone that has everything in her or his or their life together. That award does not exist because it would be so hard to say what's perfect, because being perfect is subjective. So these are the things I've actually been learning in my 20s. Our 20s are glamorized as this golden era, but it is a golden era. We have so much fun and we learn, we meet new people, we learn so many things about life. We get to experience so many different things. Our generation is way more ahead in technology. We get to experience so many different things and your life is never the same. But I do think it's important to kind of set the foundation as to what kind of person you're becoming, because that will set the tone for the future as well. By which I mean, whether you have kids or not, whether you have a family or not, whether you have kids or not, you're still going to be surrounded by people. And what you are today is a very big foundation. Just like how what you learned in school is a big foundation for college, what you're doing now is going to set the stage for what you do in your 30s. So if you are in your 20s, what's the one lesson you've been learning? Or if you're not in your 20s, if you're in your teenage years, or if you're older than, if you're not even in your 20s, if you're in your 30s, drop something in the comment and let me know what's the one lesson you think everybody should know. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment. That would mean the world to me. For some reason, I love making videos and I would appreciate it if you can like it. And with that, I will see you with more exciting stuff in the next video. Bye.